planting an avocado. I just come across this very pretty 7-gallon Oro Negro, a variety I was wanting to grow here and have not planted yet. So I got a pretty one and I am going to plant her. I thought it would be beneficial to show people how I plant a fruit tree and what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm scraping off the soil. I need to get rid of all of this. Man, I wish I had a cameraman. So I'm gonna remove all of these little pieces of tape that are holding this little stake pole in here. This has been in here since it was a baby, and it is not necessary anymore. So we'll put our 7-gallon pot off to the side for future use. So what I'm doing is going around the edges here, and I want to find those roots. See, right there is my first root that's coming out of this trunk of this rootstock. Right there, there's another one. So this is my starting point. That's my crown of my tree. That has to be well above this ground level. So I'm gonna step back here. I am gonna drop this one just a little bit, but I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna show you what I did here. So you can see how high this thing is. You know, from the surrounding ground, I'm a good 6-8 inches higher. I'm not completely satisfied with that. I'm gonna move this tree out of the way. All I did was pull some grass out of this hole right here. I do have some broken down material here that's been here for several years. I do have a water line in ground. Currently, I'm gonna be replacing this with all overhead, but since I have the water right here, I figured I may as well go ahead and plant a tree since I can put water on it every day. So I'm just gonna lower it just a touch. I'm still looking for 6 or so inches above ground level. There we go. She's set nice and straight. So you see that tree is quite high out of the ground. Now next I'm gonna take my trusty golf cart and I'm gonna go get a bucket full of decomposed chips, and I will take you guys for the ride. We can go do that together. I want you guys to see my whole process, because I think there is a huge disconnect on how to plant fruit trees. I planted, I'm just going to give you an example, just like that. This tree was bigger. This was in a 15-gallon pot, so I did plant it deeper. But 2 years ago, that's a Brogden avocado. All right, it was not a whole lot bigger than that one, but this is where we're at now. So this is a solid tree. I planted it 2 seasons ago, and I can show you what she has done this year. There are some fruits in here. Oh, there we go. There's some little avocados. She's holding a few. There's a few in a few spots. There's another one right there. Just flowered, just recently. But yeah, this tree's gonna hold fruit on its 2nd year in the ground. So grow really fast when you plant them right. You give them the right conditions, and you can see that one has sunk to about ground level. I'm a little high still. You can still see my roots. That's my original crown. That's what I went for, as sticking way above the ground. Now this is ready for mulch. But the cool thing is this tree is set. It's never gonna sink anymore. It's done. Its roots are holding it in place. And now I have room for sinkage and settling, and then I can just add more material right here, and that continues to feed the tree. That is the reason we are planting that high, because I know it's going to sink. All that material that's wrapped around that root ball right now is going to eventually sink. So let's go get a tub. And we'll go get a shovel or a pitchfork, and we're gonna go plant the tree together. Should I title this video "A Day on the Farm" with this guy? So here's my tubs. There's 2, that's perfect. One for composting material and one for some mulch. Oh, I need to get me a shovel. This is our up potting area and propagation area. nice that it's all in the shade, our whole potting area. Where I spend a lot of time right there in that little piece of heaven. That's where I get to make all my plants. So here's my driveway out back. We drive on this constantly. It's getting beaten down all the time. So it's rather rich. Let me see if this little standy thing on the back. There we go. You guys can watch what I'm digging up. This is literally just like what has been on the ground here for a couple of years. I'll show you what it looks like. Like one shovel full. So you see what we're making, or what we're using. It's just mulch. It's just wood chips. They've just been laying here and getting wet and beaten up for a long time. So it's like never-ending stock. I just keep spreading it, and the more we drive on it and the more we walk on it, the more rain hits it, the more the animals poop on it. Everything that happens just in nature by stuff falling and decomposing into the ground, it gives me all this media that I need. So if I just wait like 6 months to a year is about what it takes to get to the level where this stuff is. And then if I go really deep, of course, there's even finer broken down stuff. But I did build a sieve, so I was able to take this stuff and run it through the sieve. So now I have to hurt my back and put this on the golf cart. So you guys will be here for the back injury I'm about to sustain. Flex the core, baby. Flex the core. Nope, no injury. I am right as rain. All right, on we go. Now we have 20 gallons of composted wood chips. That will be lovely to hold moisture in place. And I happen to have quite a large pile of mulch up there, kind of near where we're going to plant this tree. So we'll roll up there. Hi, piggies. Tookie. That's the guard dog. She's the most vicious one we have. Now I know not everybody has a big pile of compost and mulch, but if you want to plant a tree and really do it where you're giving it the material that it needs so it has time to root, it has time to really grow and keep the moisture in place, I think it's very reasonable to use that amount of material. So whatever you have to source, if you have to buy bag stuff, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's what you have to do. If you have to go to a local nursery, do that. There's most likely a rock supply and mulch and something in your area, and they will have all this stuff. So it's really been a lifesaver to have this material. But if you're only planting a couple trees and you just need to source something like this, I mean, this could be as simple as a bunch of grass clippings that you've been laying in your backyard for many years, just in one pile, and you break it all down and it's gonna look like that. Everything turns back into this. This just happens to be really dry because we haven't had rain, seems like, in forever. Put you down right here, and we're gonna shovel a little bit of mulch. I don't know if you can see any of that. No, it's not very exciting, is it? Maybe come up here. Can you see me? Little standy thing is not what I hope. And this is really a job for a pitchfork. But I can use anything. See, this isn't even like wood chips. This is like palms and all kinds of whatever they brought. I really don't care. Because it all breaks down and turns to mulch, turns to material. People are very worried about what they're getting in the mulch pile and what kind of tree is in it. I don't care at all. It serves its purpose to keep the moisture in place and allow the trees to be comfortable throughout the whole day, especially in the summertime down here when it's 500,000 degrees all day long. And if we don't get rain for a couple days in the summer, these trees really suffer. So that's not in any way any kind of special mulch. I mean, that's Spanish moss. It's breaking down some chipped wood, palm fronds, whatever they brought me. So we go back to our in-ground avocado as we left it. And I shell back up and hopefully not hit anything. All right. Okay. So, I've got my material, I've got my tree sticking out of the ground. That's it. I want this big mountain. Every bit of this is going to be gone inside of a year. So it doesn't matter how high you plant them, they're going to sink. All of them at the time. Don't let anyone tell you anything else is going to sink. And within 2 years time, maybe 3 years time, I'm going to eat Negro avocados off of that tree. And I might give it some rabbit manure or something in the meantime. I guess we should probably prune this thing too while we're at it. So you guys can see what kind of extremes I go to doing that too. As in like what I did to the Brogdon when I put it in the ground. I'm gonna look for my best 4 branches. That's my goal. It doesn't matter how much growth there is on here. I want my best 4 branches, and I want to look in 4 different directions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to use stuff down here. That's probably going to get used. That's going to get used. Maybe this. There's definitely not anything up here. So the first thing I'm doing is taking that off. That's number 1. Little tiny branches that don't do anything for me. Little teeny little thing like this guy in here. I don't need that branch. I'll take that off. I don't want to feed anything that I don't need to. You know, like there's only so much nutrients going to come up, and if you feed all these branches, you're feeding all these branches. This one is going this direction, and it's a very nice branch. It's turning up. I'm liking the look of it. This one's already wonky, and it's kind of going that same direction. So bye-bye. So now we're going to look, do I want this guy? Do I want this guy? I think this would be a very pretty tree with these 4 right here, but I kind of really like the look of that branch. I don't really feel like I need this one. So again, there we are. Since this one is facing downwards, this one is higher and is already facing up. The apical dominance of that branch is going to take this one out. So that one. Now we have that. 2, 3, 4. Process of elimination. This tree is pruned. I like to get it clean. I like an angle so no water sits on it. It'll run right off. It'll scab over. And that is what I just did to that 7-gallon Negro avocado. Just like what I did to the Brogdon over there, which I will take you guys over. Where I pruned it, how I pruned it, and what I did. I literally did the exact same thing. You can see that's where I cut the top off. There was another branch there, it came off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are my limbs that I chose to be my tree. And now it looks like that. It's very pretty, it's very happy. It has, sun gets to all parts of it. It gets to the inside and it gets to the outside. And it's making fruit, which is the goal of all of this, in as little time as possible, getting a tree that is solid and strong and capable of holding fruit. And it looks like we may have sunset. Yep, we've got some in there. So we're gonna get a few off of this year, and I find with every tree they always do a test flowering, like a test fruiting, and this is obviously its first one. Next year, I imagine I will get heavy production. And this thing has never seen synthetic fertilizer ever. It got jack beans planted around it, that was it. So now I'm gonna get the water hose and I'm gonna water in our Negro. So I'm just gonna water heavy all around the base of it. So this is what I do with every tree. I don't think anyone really does this. I mean, the farmers, growers, they do it because they know what they're doing. So I've watched these people prune trees and I just mimic what they do. See who's successful and do what they do. And I figure you got to be successful doing that. So I'll water this a few more times, but I'm gonna get that drip head set up on here and it'll take care of business for me. I can just hit that auto system that I have set up. But pruning your tree right at planting, and everyone gets this big beautiful tree and they're worried about how tall it is. I don't care how tall it is. I want to know how thick it is, and I want to know how many lateral branches it has, so I can set myself up a very pretty fruit tree. So that is how I plant a fruit tree, and that's how I prune them at planting. So as long as I have plenty of water here, there's not any problems. Healthy trees don't die when you prune them, they grow stronger. So people worry about cutting their trees because they think, oh, what if it dies? Well, if it dies, it was sick and it was probably gonna die anyway. It should always have enough reserves in that root ball to be able to push out some new leaves. If it doesn't, that thing was on the way out. So no worries about chopping the tops off of trees. I mean, I just took 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet off of that tree, but it's better for it. So, all right, guys. I'm out.